Oh my God, welcome to Hot Dad's Pod.
Hot Dad's Pod! Nailed it. Unison, togetherness,
Okay,
synergy.
all right. We don't need to talk about it. We can just do it and let the podcast keep going. Okay,
Should you guys do this every time?
Yeah,
Every
she
time.
deconstructs it every time instead of
Really?
just letting me say it and then moving on.
Save Gracie Canaan. That's where you can find me.
Okay, and then you can find me at Maria Heinegg, MariaHeinegg. You can find us at Hot Dad's Pod on Instagram. You can email us hotdadspod@gmail.com. And now let's get to the main event. Our amazing guest comedian, Nataly Auker.
Oh my gosh.
Did I say it right?
Perfect.
Okay, amazing.
I feel like you've introduced me enough times
Yeah.
in our life.
Yeah.
And since we've known each other, that
Yeah.
you got the hang of
Global
it.
comedian sensation.
Yeah.
Global
That's
comedy
right, baby.
superstar.
Universe.
Universal. The funniest woman in the universe.
Yeah.
That has been to all of the
It's a lot of
furthest
pressure.
reaches. Yeah. And you're here and you made room to be here in our living room
I
right
know.
now.
Certainly did. Our living room.
I love the energy Maria is giving you right now. It's very like real blonde to fake blonde. Being
I
like,
love that's
Really?
that's our whole dynamic. You'll see it. It's very like big dog, little dog.
She
you know?
loves to say that, but it's like, I guess
where
you
I'm
are
like
kind of
running
yippy.
around.
You are
Yeah,
kind of
I'm pretty
yippy.
yippy. I'm pretty loud. You know. We've known each other.
we've known each other
Yeah.
since you were a brunette.
Yeah, all
Which was
those
so
years ago.
long
So long ago. Who
Almost 2
remembers?
weeks.
Yeah.
It's so funny because I don't know if you guys talked about this before, but I didn't even know you guys knew each other until I saw you had a podcast together. I don't think I've ever seen you in the same.
Yeah, in the same
Room.
Well, we're ashamed of our relationship. That's
Yeah,
why
it's secret and dirty.
we try to keep it, and this is our way to come out.
Yeah.
Okay.
To everyone. No, I think. Well, we have a mutual friend who's
Just one?
also my cousin.
Well, no, who's
We
not
have-
a comedian.
Okay, I'll
He's
gotcha.
not a comedian. You're like, yeah, you guys both have been doing comedy for a decade. And that's how we like first knew each other. So we didn't even actually really first know each other through comedy. And then, or like I knew you did comedy. It was kind of
No.
both.
I feel like we had met before we,
But-
like Alex met.
But we've known each other for years. And then she had me on this podcast. And then during the interview, she was like, so you should co-host. And then by the end of the episode, I was the co-host.
She had agreed.
That's
to co-host.
hilarious.
Yeah.
That's really good.
I tricked her into it.
Yeah.
basically.
Smart. Did you know beforehand? Before she came? Did you have a hunch?
I mean, I've been trying to do it. Like
And-
I tried to do it with Sam Evans too.
Oh,
well.
okay.
In my defense,
You were not first choice.
Second.
Sloppy second.
First of all, you just hadn't been booked yet, so it just hadn't even
Yeah,
occurred to
okay,
me. And
okay,
second of all, Sam
backpedal,
Evans is
backpedal.
one of my dearest
He
friends in
is.
the entire world.
Why didn't it work out?
Because he said no, because he's smart.
Yeah, and I'm silly. I'm
Yeah.
a silly goose. And I
She
feel
was
like now
easier to
every,
hustle, you
every
know?
time
I
I,
can see
say
that.
something like chaotic or problematic, which is a lot, there's no one to blame except like you're like, I did this. You know what I mean? Like I had her on. I swindled her into being the co-host. So
She has this hilarious narrative in her head that she's like super problematic, and it's, I just don't even think you know what that word means, to be honest.
Andrea, can you Google it? Oh, we
No,
forgot.
Andrea,
Speaking
do
of
not-
which,
do not Google the
we
word.
forgot to plug our amazing producer.
Well, you're about to.
Andrea Allan runs
Hello.
Dirt Pig. Problematic.
Dirt pig.
Wait, what? Dirt Pig.
Dog
pig.
pig.
Sorry. What's Dirt Pig?
Dirt. It's not anything. That's
Wow.
that's like when I plugged your old podcast as the slutty horror podcast instead of its actual name.
Okay, maybe Gracie is problematic after all. Maybe
Yeah,
you don't need to
it-
Google.
Exactly.
I just think the blonde has gone to her head.
Yeah.
She's like dirt pig.
Literally.
Like,
What?
That's what I feel.
honestly, though, dirt pig is Andrea. I think
It's
you might want
good.
to rebrand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fourth pod.
Do it. Natalie,
Yeah.
do you have a podcast?
I don't.
Good.
Not
Good
yet.
for you.
No, I tried to, like, during the pandemic, I was like, let me try this. But then I was like, here's the thing. I am a very opinionated person, right? And when I start to,
What?
can you believe it? Well, I'll give it away. But I'm very opinionated. And when I have opinions, I am very aggressive about them. And
Looking
but
forward to it.
the problem with my opinions is that they change all the time.
Same.
And so I'm like, okay, here I am putting out my opinions and they're going to be out there forever. And then in 10 years, I'm going to be like, what the fuck was I talking about? So I was like, me doing my own podcast, I'm going to be talking a lot. There's going to be a lot of my opinions out there. I should probably not do that.
Is it possible to have, because I'm very anti-opinion. Personally, that's like my one big opinion.
I don't think that's true.
It's not.
Is that
I feel like you have opinions.
I think everyone should have less hot takes.
But you have
maybe
a
less.
lot of them, Gracie.
I have a lot of them, and I wholeheartedly disagree. So, all at the same time. But my thing is like, do you think you could have a podcast where you're like, I have no opinions or no hot
I
takes?
probably could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just you
but then
eating
they'll find their way to
Cheetos.
come back in.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how to shut the fuck up.
No, I mean, who are you talking to?
I know.
Comedian.
Welcome
I
to
know.
a room full of comedians.
Yeah. That's the problem.
And that
But I
beautiful
don't
naked
think-
lady.
I think most things don't hold up, right? Like you watch a movie from 10 years ago and you're like, that's not okay. You know what
Exactly.
I mean?
And I don't want this to be me.
Well, then you should probably leave.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I also at some point I was like, you know what? I'm actually going to stop doing podcasts altogether.
Oh man.
It's scary.
It's scary.
really scary to think about like what's out there. I've talked to a couple of the comics that we've wanted to book on here. Sorry, I'm holding it further away from me because I feel like I'm yelling into the mic. But a couple of the podcast or the comics that we've asked to be on here have said like I'm taking a break from podcasts
Who
right
have you
now.
asked that said that?
Well, I'm not going to say it on the
Okay, fine. You can
podcast,
say
but
it
like,
after.
yeah. And I was like, oh, I didn't even ask why, because I was like, that makes sense, because it is kind of nerve wracking to be like, oh my God, what did I say? It's like the same panic that comes with a night of social drinking where
Yeah.
you wake up the next day and you're like, what the fuck did I say?
Yeah.
Like, who has me
Yeah,
on?
except it's on the internet.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's so easy to just let loose and say things because you're with buddies who you feel very safe with. Because usually when we're talking to each other, we're
That's why we brought you here.
to trick you, cancel you, and take
Yeah.
all your spots.
honestly, maybe you'd be doing me a favor.
you're like,
Maybe
I'm
I
so
should have done this.
tired.
Yeah, maybe I should have done this a while ago.
Because you've been traveling a lot. You've been traveling, hustling, grinding. Would we say all three of the above?
I hate when people say grinding.
Do you are
Yeah.
you more of a hustler or are you more of a grinder?
I don't know. I think I'm just on autopilot. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
You're like, I think I'm just dead inside.
Yeah,
Which one's that?
literally I feel it. It's funny because I'm experiencing this for the first time in my life on stage. Ever since I started comedy, I've never experienced this before, which is ultimate numbness. It's weird. It happens. It's happening to me more and more where I get off stage and I feel nothing. And it's weird because usually I'd be either super excited if it went really well or I'd be really bummed if it didn't. But recently I feel like I've reached a place of
Whatever.
okay, I'm gonna go eat now.
Yeah. Well, maybe just
What am
because
I-
you've been doing it. I mean, you have been on the move out of like so many comics. If someone were to ask me who's the comic that you think of first, who's been like doing the most spots, most countries, covering the most ground, like you'd be up there. So maybe it's just like after a certain amount of repetition. But I know there were things like when you did Paris, right? A couple months ago, that one, I remember we had a little Instagram exchange and you're like, that one hit. So
Yeah.
maybe just the antes, be like the tolerance is being up.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know, but I am doing it.
I do like this version of like you just having this thrill that keeps getting higher and higher. You're like, honestly, comedy didn't do it for me anymore, so I just started killing drifters.
Oh boy.
Like I just,
Maybe you are problematic.
Yeah, I think we should just. It's usually if you just sit here and let Gracie talk long enough, things come out, and you're like, huh.
I think I have not come to that.
Yeah,
very
I
ripe
see.
conclusion.
Yeah, I see why. That makes sense. Actually, the two of you, it actually makes a lot of sense.
it's all coming together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what we're doing in this world, I'm just like, what are we doing? But
Yep, it's a great question.
Yeah.
it feels so stupid.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah.
And that's the episode, guys. You can find me on No, I think I think you've also like reached a level of success where it's like you're doing this full time, right? Like you have your solo show coming out, and like, do you think that it's like anything else where it's if you reach a certain level of like a summit or whatever, you kind of have this moment of existential recalibration where you're kind of reassessing. You're like, okay, well, I have these things now. What do I want?
Yeah, but it's funny because I haven't even reached half of what I want to reach at all.
Yeah.
You know, but
Yeah, but that's all. We're all psychopaths.
yeah, there's also that. But I feel like because I'm experiencing this for the first time, this is exactly the kind of thing I'm talking about. I bet I'm going to listen to this in 1 year and be like, what the fuck was I talking about? I sound insane because I feel this thing in this moment in time right now. But probably in a couple of days, I'm going to be like, oh my God, I don't mean any of it. But
that's
this is,
fine.
but that's fine because
You're
that's
not saying
fine.
Anything terrible?
Yeah, in this situation, you know what I mean. But especially
I'll
with
handle
me,
that. I'll handle saying all the terrible things.
yeah,
Don't you
I'm
guys
leaving it to
worry.
Gracie. But I feel like it happens to me a lot. Especially, I feel like when I get brought onto podcasts, a lot of the conversation that I end up being led into is political and social because of my country and where I come from and
That's
war
why
and
you're
tell
here.
us and that. Yeah,
We're naming this episode Lebanese.
yeah.
We like to talk about more menial day-to-day dumb shit, and you're like the second or third person who said that to us, where it's like, wow, it's really nice that I don't have to get political on here. And we're
Yeah.
like, what?
Yeah,
That's
it's
just
really nice
so
that you
weird
haven't
to
been
me.
suckered
Yeah.
Into,
It's really nice that you guys are like shallow and don't care about any of this.
No,
stuff.
but it's
Oh
so
my
funny.
God, stop it.
Someone said that. And we're like, are there really that many comedian podcasts where they're running around being like, okay, we need your hot take
Yeah.
on the healthcare crisis?
Yeah.
And it's like,
I mean, I don't know that they're wording it like that. I think they're probably
But this is how it
saying-
comes off, I feel like. And I feel like that's how I come off. And I'm like, let me tell you about the international political American agenda and how it's affected my family. And I'm like, but I feel like I don't want to do this, but somehow the conversation turns into that. And then I walk out of there. You know, when you walk out of like, I don't know, like maybe when you have sex with someone and then you walk out and you're like, that was gross. Yeah, that's how I end up walking out. I'm like, ugh, that's not what I wanted. That's not what I thought. Felt good in the moment. And then as soon as it was done, I was like, yuck, why did I do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so
well, we want you to leave here not like you had a dirty one night stand. We want you to leave here like, I don't know, a long lost lover.
I feel
that
like we
you
could
saw
do that
at a
for sure.
5-star hotel in Paris. That's why Maria has her place decorated like this.
5-star hotel.
Is this the inspiration of your decor, French?
I call this room my Maria Antoinette room.
Yeah, you do have a very Marie Antoinette vibe.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's what she was for Halloween. She was dead Marie
yeah,
Antoinette.
I
Let
can
them eat cake.
Yeah, I can feel you vibing with her.
Reincarnation.
The 14-year-old.
Was she 14?
Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah. She was Austrian, though, and I'm Austrian. So
I didn't know she was 14. I thought she was
I
a full.
didn't either.
Oh my God, they killed her at 14?
I don't know if
Or maybe she was older when they killed her.
I don't know if she was 14 when they killed her. I think she was like 20 or something like that. It was.
What did they expect from her at 14?
Well,
What'd
that's
they kill her for
why
again?
she also like never said that quote. Like a lot of the
No?
things. No, like
Let them eat cake? She never said that?
No, like they made up that she was just like she was symbolic of, you know, the bourgeoisie that was happening then, like just not, or I mean, I'm not part of the bourgeois just because that wouldn't have been fancy
yeah,
enough,
yeah.
but just the decadence that was going on then
Yes.
among like French royalty. She somehow became the symbol for that, even though she was just a child who was like married to the King of France, who was also a child. Like
She was like an influencer.
I mean, I guess.
she was your non-modern
She was the-
day
Yeah.
influencer.
She was
Yeah.
the princess of
She was-
Austria. She
yeah.
wasn't even French because, you know, you're not
But they changed her name.
Marie Antoinette.
Is that her? I mean, that's a very French name.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, or maybe she got like, maybe she was double French. Maybe because you know how they
Double
would just
French.
maybe how they would you just like
French squared.
That sounded is a very Gracie thing to say because it made no sense.
French squared.
Roasted.
She was.
It's too early to be this roasty.
We're on the second podcast. I'm all warmed
that's
up.
True.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, you guys are probably a little mushy right now, no? In the brain.
I'm sharp.
No, we're good. You
feel good?
If it were the third one, then definitely.
We have to cap it at 2. But she was French squared.
But yeah, exactly. What
Yeah.
I mean by that is like, you know how they would just pass royals back and forth, so there was tons of inbreeding. Like maybe
I didn't know
she had French in her background before, but she was
must
from
have.
Austria.
Okay. Well, ugh.
Yeah.
Every time I go to Paris, and every time, like I've been so many times. But
How many times have you been?
I think twice.
Okay.
Really? For some reason, I feel like you've been I don't know. I think
Just
of you
because
as
she's
someone.
from another place doesn't mean that
She's
she
always
goes
in Paris.
everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, if
Wow,
anyone's
Gracie.
not,
She's not from America. She must be in Paris all the time.
What a typical Lebanese stereotype
chic.
to always be in Paris.
I know. That's
Well,
so,
they
I'm
were
so sorry.
our colonizers.
There you go.
So I do see where you see.
That's exactly where I went. I
Yeah.
know enough about history to know that that's what I just said. Wink,
Yeah.
wink.
Wink, wink.
Guys, we swore we weren't going to get political on here, and now here we are.
You see,
about
you see how it happens.
talking about Marie Antoinette, and it's
My colonizers.
it's too charged.
Yeah.
not enough time has passed.
I do love her. That's what I was trying to say. I love their castles, like
Yeah.
Versailles and whatever. I forget their names. There's a bunch in Paris where they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that was the castle." I was like, I thought that the other one was. It's like, yeah, they're a continuation of each other, and you just walk through them. I'm like, I can't believe there was a time where all of this was for one person.
Yeah.
yeah.
How can you?
Well, and all their kids and servants and
Well, yeah, but
blah, blah,
still,
blah.
it's
Yeah.
so big. I mean, it's a whole. I mean, I think it's as big as my town.
Yeah.
It's insane, and you're like, of course, these people were insane and
Yeah.
couldn't do anything and couldn't get anything done. Look at
Yeah.
everything they had to walk through, and
Just to get from like one place to another.
I mean,
You're like, who has the time to get stuff done? I got to walk from one end of my castle to the other.
Yeah.
distracted by the carpets and the mirrors.
yeah, if you had
and,
put them in
there's
a New
little
York
dogs
City
everywhere.
apartment, maybe
They'd
they
be
would
able
have
to
had
write
bread
more
to eat.
letters.
Yeah.
yeah. I do think. I do think it's wait, fuck, no, keep going. I had something charged and then I literally lost it. So maybe I am mushy.
Yeah.
Maybe I am more
that happens all the
mushy
time,
than
though.
I
You
think.
might-
Oh
you might
shit!
find it. There it
I
is.
found it. There it is.
Oh.
Is whenever I love walking through like old castles and
Me too.
mansions and all these things and seeing it just like the same furniture and just how it was kept. But I can't help thinking that like when could these people ever chill and be slobs? And was that even a thing? Like, what was the equivalent of them
Well, they didn't.
chilling on the
they didn't
couch
have to-
watching TV?
They didn't have to like do anything a lot of the time.
Yeah.
They had servants.
Yeah, they just hung out with their servants. I feel like.
They
they just would
chill.
like they'd have to like get dressed or whatever, but like they
Yeah.
would just lay around.
Yeah.
So it was just like they would lay around, but they just didn't have sweatpants.
You're so mad.
You're like, oh, the dream.
You're like, can you believe these people laying around this royalty?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just had a moment of you guys took me there. You took me to that
Yeah.
room, watching them laying around and just not having to worry. And I felt it for a moment. The envy, the
I'm trying to remember the name of that fucking movie with Emma Stone and Olivia Colman.
Oh,
my
The
God,
Favorite.
yes, that movie's
That's what I
insane.
was thinking
Favorite.
too.
well, this director's coming out with a new movie. It
Oh,
comes out in
really?
September, and it's also with Emma Stone.
Okay, noted.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge. I don't really care about Emma Stone particularly.
Olivia Colman though.
but I love Olivia
give me
Colman.
Olivia Colman
And Rachel Weisz.
Yeah,
So
Rachel
hot.
Weisz, who I
and
love.
talented.
Rachel Weisz is
She was-
probably my like crush.
Oh
yeah,
my
yeah, yeah.
god,
Yeah.
the
She-
Mummy? Are you kidding?
Oh,
me?
she was so hot.
The Mummy returns.
Excuse me. How about Disobedience? Did you guys see that movie?
did.
Oh, the
not
one
see
with Rachel
that.
McAdams.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
Oh my god, it's so
I know.
hot.
I was
Really?
thinking about
I
that the other
bet.
day.
Yeah.
Oh, I
just
think-
was thinking about it. I was thinking about the gay Orthodox Jewish flick the other day with two Rachels for no
You know
reason.
what's crazy? I've never seen this movie,
Yeah.
but I've seen the trailer and like random
Clips.
memes of it.
Yeah.
Memes.
And so I've never watched it.
Yeah.
I've never watched it. However, I find myself randomly thinking about it, about them in
Totally.
it, and I'm like, that's so weird. Like I think about it like I've seen the
Same.
movie, but I haven't.
You got to watch it.
Do you think it's because
Rachel Weisz. I think it's because of Rachel Weisz.
Do you know that she's married to Daniel Craig?
Of course I know that.
Okay,
That's
sorry.
crazy.
Of course, I know who
That's-
my wife is married to.
Yeah.
Are you
yeah.
kidding me?
We're keeping tabs.
And I guess he like feels blue collar compared to her, so he was always
He
trying
should.
to like prove. Okay,
Yeah.
There's your
She's not
hot
good
opinion
enough.
for this episode.
He should.
But he's
And you're
always
gonna
trying
look
to
back
like,
in 10 years and be like, no, I was always team Daniel Craig.
No.
What is
Yeah.
this
Sorry, who the
crazy.
fuck is James Bond today?
Yeah.
That's what I feel.
Yeah.
You're James Bond. Okay.
Yeah. But he's always felt like kind of blue collar compared to her, so he's tried to seem very like cultural and you know like
Imagine emasculating your
intellectually-
husband like that
I know,
much. to
that's
the
erotic.
point.
isn't it?
Emasculating James Bond.
Yeah.
Like I just don't feel cultured enough.
Yeah.
Like no matter
Well, I
how
think
many
she's
models I
from-
pretend to bed.
I think she's from like some kind of fancy family.
fancy
Oh, is she?
family.
She would
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? My
tell.
little cousin looks exactly like her.
Oh my God.
She's gonna have a great life.
I could, I'm not going to show the photo of my cousin out of her privacy, but I would have loved for you guys to put a clip up of this podcast with Rachel Wise and the photo of my
You
cousin.
kind of have some wiseness, actually.
Don't tell me something like that.
No, actually,
Gracie, you will
so maybe you have a
ruin
crush
my
on
personality.
yourself. Maybe you really
Too late.
just
Too
have
late.
a crush.
Yeah,
You just
as I
love
was saying it, I was
yourself.
thinking the same. My cousin, they look like they have the same nose, the same face shape, the jawline, the hair, the eyebrows. She looks. I'll show you guys after.
that your cousin isn't Rachel Weisz?
Yeah, because she also looks like her mother,
Yeah,
like her own
That's
mother.
how you know?
Like, my
It's not
cousin
because
looks
you
like-
don't just know that?
Yeah, that's why I
She's
know.
not 45.
Yeah, I put them in a room together once just to make sure.
did a DNA.
Was it in
test.
Paris? Because you're
Yes.
always there.
You're
Yes,
always,
it was.
Oh God, Natalie, I don't know how you get any spots here. You're always in Paris.
You know what's funny?
It's
I'm going to be in
crazy.
Paris next week.
No, third time.
funny.
I'm counting.
You got another show?
Yeah, I'm doing another show there.
That's so
Same
crazy
place?
to me that it's like that the cost
Same
around
place.
that makes sense for you to like fly all the way to Europe.
Yeah, we'll see how much
then-
money I make.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, because I did a show there in February and it went really well. And we were like, well, let's work off of the buzz that show might have gotten and do it again. But I have no idea how ticket sales are going. Last time I checked, it was not great. But it was when we first announced. They were just not moving the way they were moving the first time. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to stop asking and I'm just going to
Yeah.
show up the day of.
Yep.
Don't worry, we'll
And do
share it
my
on
job.
here. Tickets
To all your Parisian
tickets
fans.
to all of our massive
Yeah.
Parisian demo.
Amazing.
I thought you
Tits
said
will
Persian,
skyrocket.
and I was
Parisian.
like, yeah, Parisian.
Parisian.
Yeah,
Do you
I thought you
ever-
said Persian. I was like, are you pulling a specific Persian audience in Paris?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's only the Persians in Paris.
Look, we all
that
gotta
like
find
me.
our market. Do you ever do? Have you ever done stand up in Arabic?
I've done it. Yeah, I have. I did an hour once
Oh wow.
That's
because I
awesome.
got hired for a private gig.
Yeah.
And they were like, no one speaks English. You have to do it in Arabic. And it was like 4 or 5 years ago. And it was like they were offering me a lot of money, especially for considering that it was at a time where I was still paying to do comedy.
Yeah.
I wasn't
Yeah.
making, so I was
you
like,
had to do it.
Yeah, I was like, whatever you want.
Yeah.
I'll do it. And then I was like, shit, how am I going to do this? And then I rewrote a lot of my jokes. I tried to translate what I could. And it's hard to translate a joke. Like sometimes you just have to change
Right.
it all. I mean, it's really
It's hard
hard.
to write a joke.
Yeah, let's start there.
Yeah.
Let's start there.
I'm still struggling with that part.
Yeah, and it's like humor changes with language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like what's funny in English, a story can be hilarious in English. You can say it in Arabic, it's going to be like, okay.
Yeah.
Like I feel like in Arabic it's a lot more about attitude, tone, how aggressive you are, like more so than words. Whereas in English it's a little bit
It's more.
You can
delivery
be. You have a
than-
lot of
It's more
like.
delivery than joke.
it's a lot in the language is a lot in the tone and the movement and the facial expressions. Like this is where most of our humor comes. This is why also sometimes when I'm like doing comedy in English, I'm also like a lot more like I'm
gesticulating.
yeah. And so I worked on it. I had a comedian friend in Lebanon who does comedy in Arabic who helped me translate, and I worked and I memorized and I tried and I got to the gig, and I just spent the whole time talking to the crowd instead.
Ha.
Really?
Because that crowd was so insane.
What kind of insane?
It was all women. And that's it. I'm kidding. It was all women,
And they
so
were all
obviously
hysterical. It was
so it was
crazy.
like it was a celebration of it was kind of like a bridal shower.
Okay.
So it was the girl. She was Syrian Lebanese, and it was her bridal team, whatever you call it. What do you call it? The bridal team?
party.
Bridesmaids.
Bridal party.
Bridal party.
Bridal
Yeah.
party.
Yeah, her bridal party,
I like
and
team,
then
though. Her squad.
Her squad.
Her fucking marriage squad.
and like her mom, her grandma, her aunts, their cousins, the cousins of the cousins, the cousins of the cousins of the cousins, all
Oh my
women,
God.
old Arab women, and then really young Arab women. And there was this table of Arab aunts who were all like, as soon as I spoke, they had comments about everything I was saying, and
Oh boy.
oh my God, Betsy, this is you, and they started like. They
Chatting
would,
it up.
yeah, and then they couldn't stop, so it was very disruptive. So I had to spend the whole show talking to them. But I did the whole hour in Arabic, and I was on stage holding a
Got
mic the whole
paid.
time, and it went great. It was a really
Good.
fun. It was a
That's
really good
awesome.
gig. And then I
That's way
remember
better than doing like written material. Anyway.
it is. And then, but I walked out of there. I was like, I felt so much freer, and I felt like as I was hearing myself talk up there, I felt like I really sounded like me.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And then it made me realize how much when I do comedy in English, how much I feel like I don't sound like me because I'm not someone who usually, well, now I do because I live in America, but like I just felt like I took on a character when I'm doing comedy in English, because I don't usually talk in English and joke in English when I'm with my Lebanese friends or my family. I'm always speaking in Arabic and French. And this is my personality. And then going back to how humor changes with language, I just felt like I took on an American character.
Yeah.
That's not really me. And it's like a real identity crisis.
Well, I was going to say, that sounds so intense. How do you bridge that
I
gap?
don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing. That's like to tell you the truth.
Sounds like
get out of this.
need
Yeah. You don't know what you're
fatherly
doing.
advice.
Yeah. Oh my God. I have
Literally
no
not from
advice.
anyone in this room, because we cannot help you.
No
with that.
fucking clue what I'm doing. Do
that's-
you?
No.
Okay. So
I do.
She does.
Yeah.
I don't.
Gracie does.
I do.
Obviously.
I'm living to fight another day. Every day.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know what the fuck. I don't even know how we got to that point of the conversation what we were talking about originally.
I asked
Marie
you.
Antoinette.
Yeah, I'm going to Paris.
So
But-
we do actually have an advice question that we'd like to ask you, and it's actually coming from our own producer, Andrea Allan. So she's just gonna walk behind Gracie so that she's in shot for asking this question. It's a little bit
Gracie.
involved, just a spoiler alert.
It's a little bit what?
Involved. Like
okay. Yeah.
there's some.
What is involved?
No, it's okay. No, it's okay.
No,
Get down there.
Do not break my chair.
Are you
because you're a
are you in
cat.
the shot?
I am. Maybe. Who knows?
It might be just
yeah,
your
I think I
arm.
will. I think I will be. I give a good
Okay.
amount of headspace. If not, you can just hear my low and authoritative tone.
That's right.
Ugh, you have a great voice, Andrea.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I've
I
been
feel
talking.
much calmer now that she started talking.
Gracie, just a reminder that they cannot hear anything you're saying. No.
Okay. So my question, this is a convoluted situation, so I'll try to break it down. So I have a friend group from high school. Like in high school, I had this sort of like squad of gals. And a few of them I still like very much relate to and are wonderful people. And I would like to see them when I see them. They live
few
in
of them.
a few of them. Yeah. They live in all different countries, whatever. So, but there's one in particular who was like always my bully in high school. Like, I don't know if you ever had this dynamic where you would like a best friend who was,
A frenemy.
yeah, like a public facing
course.
bully. Of course, you're a woman. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know this dynamic.
Exactly,
And then behind closed
yeah.
doors, they're like, oh my God, I'm so insecure. So this person just caused me a lot of emotional pain as a young person. And then I went on a trip with them a few years ago, and she was the same type of bully. Like I'm like in my
Really?
30s now, and I was like,
Changed.
oh, you're still mean. Like, I can't believe you're still this. And it gave me all these really awful feelings. And I was like, oh, I think I'm done with you. Like, I think now here's the problem. This is like a girl group. So they go on trips together, and like, it's this whole fucking thing. And so I was like, I'm done with this person. I don't know if I have to make an announcement, but I think it's pretty clear that I don't want to be in their life. One of them is getting married now.
Not the bully.
Not the bully. And the bully has somehow sniffed out that I'm not interested in being her friend anymore. And so I privately told two of the other girls, like, hey, when it's time to do these girl trips or whatever, like, I'm not coming. I'm done with this person. I don't like how they make me feel. I've tried, like, it's kind of known within this group that this person is an antagonist.
Right.
To the point that there's little catchphrases about, like, when she's doing this, like, too far, not funny, haha. And so the bully is asking all the other girls why I'm mad. And now all the other girls are like, you need to acknowledge us before this stupid fucking wedding, because she wants an answer.
Ooh, I love that it thundered.
Yeah.
Right when you.
So it's gotten to this level that the bride is like, you can't stay in the group cabin unless you have a conversation.
You?
Me. With this bully about, like,
Unless she confronts her
yes, unless I confront her and like tell her that we're not
that she's a fucking bitch.
friends anymore.
Do they know why?
Yeah,
They do know
they
why.
do know why, and they want to.
Sounds like she's playing dumb though.
She's manipulating them to get to me, which is something a bully does. And so I'm just kind of like, okay, it's your fucking wedding, so like, I'll do it because you want to feel comfortable. I don't want to make this day somehow about me, but I'm not making it anything. But this
Yeah.
woman like is demanding answers, and I'm like, do I give her the truth? Do I say like we've outgrown each other, or do I go like, I don't like you, you're not a nice person, I don't want to, like, I'm now breaking up this friend group because of the rift between the two of us. I'm also like the bride to be who's asking me to do this. I'm like, you're making me ruin your wedding. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, I will be honest, and I generally am a pretty honest person, but I kind of reserve it for those who deserve the honesty. And in this
That you care
situation,
about,
yeah,
that
I'm
you
like,
wanna
I
continue
literally
your
don't
relationship
care
with.
anymore.
Yeah.
So I don't really know.
I just love that she
What to
thinks
do.
that you doing it is going to make it more comfortable to be in that cabin. With
Right,
this
that's
chick.
hilarious.
Nightmare.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I love that. Like, does she think you guys are going to come to some kind of like understanding by you being like, just so you know, you're a wild, rude bitch.
Right.
And I don't care for you at all. And actually, no one cares for you, but I'm the only one who's willing to say it.
I mean, that's essentially what's being, but I think a part of it as well is that the women who are a little closer to her, who are being forced into asking me,
Yeah.
I think that they tolerate her, or they have a better understand. I think that they might have deeper friendships with her, so they accept this side of her, whereas I
Don't have any reason to.
I have no reason to, and I'm a grown up and I've lived away from these people for a long time. I don't like have friendships like this.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I have to respect your want for me to patch this up because you want the whole group to be together again. And I have to be like, I don't and I won't.
All right, Natalie.
Happy wedding.
You ready to give some advice?
Yes.
Here, Gracie, you can take my mic so you can help with this next part.
Okay.
Is there any way you could go to the wedding without being in the cabin?
I'd have to like rent a hotel off. It's on an island. It's on Vancouver Island. And so I'd have to like change lodging. And I feel as if that would make it even more obvious.
I just don't understand
Who
why the
cares if
girls
it's
are asking you to
obvious?
do this.
I
I
just
just
think
think
it's
that's
just
weird.
I think it's just the bride. I don't think anyone else is forcing it.
What's her relationship to the bride?
She's closest with the bride. And
Closer
that's-
than you are?
Yes. Yeah. So this is the thing. Right.
I mean, I worship at the altar of chaos, much like Gracie, so you know what I want to do about it.
What would you do?
Oh, fucking give it to her.
Yeah.
Be like, oh, are you really curious what's going on? Because you could just ask me. I'd be happy to tell you. Like,
Yeah.
you've been awful to me since we were in school, and I was hoping that you'd outgrow it, but it turns out you're still exactly who you were, and that's disappointing.
Yeah.
And I
Was
feel
there
sorry
something
for
that
you.
triggered it in high school? Was
Yeah.
there a story that made her go, Andrea, you're on my bitch list and I'm going to make your life miserable?
No.
No, she just hates herself, and
Yes.
she takes it out on other people.
Yeah.
I think also
Because I had a girl like that,
yeah,
exactly like that. Mm-hmm. And I left the group because of it.
sure.
Like, I just took my distance and I was like, every time I'm with the group, I have to deal with that person.
Yes.
And I just don't want to anymore. So I slowly backed away.
Mm-hmm.
But there was an event
What
that
was the
triggered.
impetus of it?
We were 14. The guy she liked me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she never let it go. She
mean-
never let it go. It's been almost 20 years. No, it's been more.
Dude,
Yeah.
What a
No, it's been almost
loser.
20 years. Yeah,
It's such
What
a loser.
a loser.
Yeah.
So wait, is this specifically, and I forgive me if you already said this and I missed it, is it specifically targeted at you?
Yeah, she
But that's why it's
antagonizes
weird.
everyone. The thing with
Like-
me, I think there's there is one thing that's like the major sticking point, which I think. So I went to an all-girls school when I was younger, up until 9th grade, and then I went co-ed, and this is where I met this person. And so when I went co-ed, and when I came to the school, I was very like zany and myself because I had no influence of like wanting to impress boys. I mean, you guys know me fairly well. I'm like a pretty zany character. So I think I was very like authentically myself and bullied for that reason. It was
Yeah.
like, who's this woman who just is like,
Yeah, it was jealousy.
Yes.
Yeah.
But part of the ways that I was bullied was they would call me a lesbian all the time because I went to an all-girls school, which is also like very that time period. So this particular person would like say it all the time. She also like read, she in one of my classes, she told all these boys that she stood up and like was like, these are the boys Andrea would date if they liked Andrea. Like it was a very targeted, like, you're an individual, you're loud, you're like okay with yourself, and so I am
State for the record, fuck this bitch.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is what happened, and I think this person is bi, is my feeling about it. And like I'm right. So here we go. So I am a bisexual woman. And we went on a trip to Burning Man.
Scissor.
No. Well, I think
Fucking get it over with, you know?
this has always been the problem, is that I've been like open about my sexuality and who I am as a person, and I don't think she is. So when we went to Burning Man, I went to like an all women's orgy, the strap-on-a-thon, by myself.
Whoa.
Nuts.
Whoa, I've never heard that before. An old woman, or I've never heard, but I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
I guess that would exist, but I've never
It's
heard it in
wild.
a conversation.
May I say?
Yeah.
It's actually just 4 women and 3 microphones.
Right.
Whoa.
So I went. I know. So
Awesome.
I went. It's cool. It's crazy. You walk in, you're like, oh my God.
I feel like I just reacted like a 14-year-old
Everyone's
boy.
screaming. What? Girls in an orgy? Cool. No women do that. So when I came back, she was very like, oh, are you going to try to like eat all our pussies now? And I was like, oh, right.
You fucking
This is
Wait,
you.
when did she say that?
I came back from the orgy.
But what were you, how long ago was that? Like 5 years ago?
Yeah, 4 years ago. Yeah.
Oh, so that was, wow.
Yeah. So I was just like,
I can't believe you still have to deal with her.
I know. Well, that's the thing. I was just like, oh, right. This is how you are. You can't be nuanced about people's sexuality. Like, I couldn't bring you around my friends in New York because you would say something fucking
How much do you
tone-deaf
care
and
about the
shitty.
bride?
Great question.
Oh, that is a good question.
Let's take that into the fact and let's factor that in.
A lot. It's not a person that I see very often, but I think the bride is a really good person.
Well, if you and the bride have a good relationship, you
Yeah.
should go to her and be like, listen, I love you.
Yeah.
And I obviously don't want to make you uncomfortable on your wedding day.
Yeah.
I don't want to have anything to do with this girl. And
I
this is
know.
my decision. And you should respect it. I'm not going to ruin anything. I'm not going to get in a fight with her. I'll be
Yeah.
very cordial with her.
Yeah.
There's no issue there. We can all hang out without me having to do something I don't want to do.
Right.
And I
feel like-
think if you guys have a strong relationship, like a real strong, she should be like, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think you should also warn her, be like, if you want me to talk to her, it's going to be a lot worse. when we're
Yeah,
in
it's
that
gonna make
cabin
things worse.
together.
Right. And that's the thing is like, again, I'm a
Did you
pretty
say that to her?
upfront person. I was like, let me think about it. But like, yeah, I'm not going to be, it's not that I will be antagonizing, but I certainly will be like, here's the truth.
I have a question. What if we split the difference here? And first of all, it's very, very shitty that this is on you. Like that. Let's just
right.
acknowledge the unfairness of it. Is like someone took a steaming shit on your desk and said, clean it up. So that sucks. But I do think, but these are them's the facts. Yeah. So here we are. So I think, could we split the difference of and emails or blah, 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 whatever, but sometimes it's just better to do this in writing. Not tell this person off completely, but be like, blah, blah, blah. We've outgrown each other. I didn't want to leave you in the dark. For my own reasons, I'd rather X, Y, and Z. Let's just be cordial. Like during this wedding weekend, get through it because we all love Roberta or whatever. And then that's it. Like you don't
does
have to
sound like a
get into the
Roberta.
whole thing because
She
clearly
looks like
this
a
is a
real
person
bird.
who doesn't understand. But can it be like, and then that way, then balls in her court. If this bitch acts like flies off the handle, then it's kind of on her, but you did everything that the bride requested that you do.
I don't know that you want receipts, like, because she's going to forward that email.
I think I can do like a fake thing. You know what I mean? I think I can be like, we've grown apart. And I know we haven't always gotten along.
Have you answered anything yet?
To the people I care about, yes. And I've
Because I would have said,
very
just be like,
specific.
what are you talking about? I have no problem.
That's my
Gaslight them.
Yes.
Gaslight them all.
this is my issue though, is that I'm an honest person to a fault a lot of the time. So
Yeah.
I find myself in these situations where
Yeah.
like
I think you should just be politely honest with her and be
Yeah.
like, I just don't think you've ever been nice to me, and it doesn't make me feel good to be around you.
yeah.
But you know what I don't like about this, about this situation, is that when you do that, here's what happened with me, and I don't know if the same thing happened with you, but I think, Andrea, you and I are very similar in that we are both, I am also a very honest person, but I am also, I feel like I am very kind when it
Yeah,
comes to this
me
stuff.
too.
And I am
Yeah.
the reason I'm telling you gaslight them is because
Yeah.
I am very easily gaslit.
Me too.
And then if I know a girl like her, I know what she sounds like. I'm sure that if you go and you say this and you're honest with her, she will gaslight you and be like, I have nothing against you.
I know.
Yeah.
She does do that.
Yeah, and then
she goes,
you're,
I
a
love
part of you is gonna feel bad and believe it because you're
Yeah.
gonna be like, oh, maybe it was me. Maybe
I think-
even if you know at the core of you that it's not true. That's my problem with people like that.
I have a retaliation tactic for that though. And
okay.
be like, well, then you need to work on your self-awareness.
Sure.
Because you're mean.
If this is how you show love, you fucked.
And you can dig in and be like, and I'm not the only person who feels that way. And you don't have to get specific as to who.
I'm not the real person that feels that is a great
That is great.
Who said it? It's not my place
It's
to
not
tell.
my place to say.
You just
but I
ruined
just
this
want
wedding.
you to know that you're not the only person who feels that way. The bride. Like, just like fully dig in.
My mom does that to me. She'll say something. She'll be like, I'm not the only person.
Oh, that
that's
is so evil.
Yeah.
But that's very good, though.
Yeah,
That
because
is
you
very
sit with it
good.
and you're like, oh my God, who else knows?
People
Oh,
have been talking.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of this person, people do talk. Like,
I think you
and-
could also just say, I've witnessed you do it to other people as well.
Sure.
And it doesn't make me feel good.
And there's solid examples. Like before this trip, she lost her shit on one of the other girls in a very rude way. And the other girl called me separately and was like, if this person fucking flips out at me when we're in the middle of the desert, can you defend me? And I was like, yeah, I'll
Can't the
fucking-"
other girls back you up on this?
They won't because she's a bully.
Because
And
She
that's-
scares them. It's
Yeah,
always
she
that.
scares them.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have like that's the kind. There's always that girl in the friend group.
Yeah.
And all the other girls end up
Is
having a weird Stockholm syndrome.
Yes. Well, that's why I'm extraditing myself from it. Yeah.
I mean, in I think it happens a lot in friend groups that have been friends since high school.
Yes.
Or like
Yes.
because
See, I
they're
never
like
had-
too used to each other now that they don't know how to be without
it's like
each
this
other.
sick little cycle.
And they're
yeah.
not with each other and they're not friends anymore because they love each other and they're good for each other, just because it's a habit and they don't know how to like get out of it.
Yeah.
And then you get sucked into.
Well, like a big realization of this. It is so corny to have a realization at Burning Man, but I did, even though I
can't
And an
avoid
all-female
it.
orgy.
Can't avoid it.
I'm like sober
like,
at Burning Man with
"No,
like people
shallow
I don't even
thoughts
like. I'm like, this is
only."
truly a nightmare.
I feel like a lot of people have like big
You
moments
have
at Burning
negative
Man.
realizations there. It's just
Yeah.
because of the environment. It's an extreme environment, so all of your like defenses are stripped down. And I was like, oh, I've like gone to therapy enough and learned about the way that I get into abusive relationships. It makes total sense that I would have a relationship with this person in high school, but as a grown up who like knows better, not a chance. And then, but I think a lot of them have not reached that place in their life where they are like looking at abusive people and being like, this is not for me.
God, thank God for comedy. Honestly, like
Is that the verdict here?
I don't think comedy had anything to do with that.
it.
I think
I don't know.
cognitive
Like,
behavioral therapy had a lot to
but
do with it.
also, like, I feel like that's such a common thing. I mean, I'm sounding very just holier than thou right now, but it's like,
Do you mean because you got an opportunity to start a brand new friend group and like be picky as opposed to like your
I think
legacy
it's
people?
Because, like, I think it's just because if
Legacy
you're
people.
in comedy, you are doing it because you are facing your pain and you have a crippling level of self awareness. And so I feel like I've seen this with comedians. Like I've seen this with comedians where it's like they are in comedy and then you meet their friend group or something and they're like their friend group is completely back at home, like where they were, and then they are kind of like eons in the future because they've gone through totally.
I moved to New York when I was 18, so I think that
Yeah.
plays a big role in like the genesis of me as a person. I think I
Yes.
would be very different.
Did they all stay home?
A lot of them. The ones I liked
Yeah.
did not, and
Yeah.
the ones that I do are still there. And I think it has a lot to do with like personal evolution, and that's like it
Women
sounds
helping women,
condescending.
passing the mics back.
Do you know what I mean? Like it sounds condescending to be like I'm better than this.
But it's not.
No, it doesn't.
it's not
No, yeah, it
that.
doesn't.
It's
I
not
think also.
condescending to practice self care,
Yeah,
which is what
sure.
this is.
But I
And
think
also, it's
yeah.
harder to. And it's not saying anything bad about the people who don't. I think also when you stay home and you never get out of your bubble,
Yeah.
no matter what that home is, it can be the fucking best and most amazing and most exquisite place in the world. If you are in the same place and you don't get out of it, you never get out of the bubble you were born in and grew
Yeah.
up in,
Yeah.
you're not going to really grow.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I noticed that. And I think this is common of people who like are high school friends who don't go places. Every time I would go back, I would go, I'm more and more different from you.
Yeah, same.
And there's like a weird sadness to that.
So sad.
Because you're like, oh, you really are wonderful people at your core. But like, I'm looking at you say things that are kind of racist in a way that you don't quite realize, or I'm looking at your privilege in a way that I wouldn't have realized. And it's like, I've always been the one in the group that it's not surprising that I'm the one who left, because I was always the one who was the like outside this is self-important, but like outsidery one of the group.
Yeah,
you know?
and I feel the same. Yeah,
so.
And I think that there's nothing like crazy or like
Yeah.
to say that. I just honestly, I am. If the point of this segment is to give an advice,
yeah.
and mine might be a bad one.
Okay, give it
Okay.
to me.
Because and I want this to be clear, because I give a lot of bad advice to myself, and I make a lot of wrong decisions. Most of my decisions are bad.
Yeah.
Okay. I
There
will
you
say
go.
that. I'm not just being like, oh my God, my life sucks. It doesn't. But I make a lot of bad decisions, especially when it comes to human relationships, because I am a very avoidant person.
Yeah.
Human relationships as opposed to person to object.
Bestiality.
I'm much more patient with my lamps than I am
Yeah.
with my friends. But I will say I am avoidant, but I think sometimes it's good, because I feel like sometimes people don't deserve our
Yeah.
and it just doesn't. This doesn't seem like you're not going to change them. You're not going to get anything out of it.
No.
Nothing's going to be different. If it was me, I've been like, I don't need this shit.
Yeah.
I have created a life and an entourage for myself of
Yeah.
people that make me feel good, that I like, and I'm barely home, which
Right.
you
Yeah,
are.
I'm barely home.
You're barely home.
Yeah.
So it's like I would just be like, listen, I'm not going to deal with this. If it's a problem, it's a problem, and I'm out.
That is a very
that's
Nataly
me.
answer.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
But
yeah.
that's, I don't know if you're I would be very comfortable telling my friend who's getting married that I'm like, you're getting married. You're fine.
Yeah.
You're fine. You're doing great. Good for you.
Yeah.
I don't feel bad. I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
I have no problem. I don't want to cause problems either. I just don't feel good doing
Yeah.
this. And if it bothers you, then it bothers you, and I'm out. I don't know.
Fair
That's
enough.
You
I
get
like
a hotel.
that. Yeah.
Just burn all your bridges, Andrea.
Yeah. This
burn
is
all.
okay. And I'll give the microphone back to Gracie, but I feel like this is one of my central issues in life, and I don't know how to feel about it, is that like I really, when I do care for people, I care very deeply, and
Yeah,
sometimes
same.
I am an enabler to a level that I'm not super comfortable admitting. So then I enable and I grow resentment, and then one day I'm like, I'm done with you, goodbye.
Yeah. I get it.
So
the
I'm trying
same.
to like have more tempered relationships where I don't take
But
care of
why?
everybody. I don't know, because I don't want to have no friends at the end of it.
But you're not without friends. You're
That's
keeping the
true.
friends that make you feel good.
Yeah.
I think, on the contrary, this is creating a very safe environment for yourself.
Yeah, that's fair.
Why is this bad? I don't understand.
No,
I
I
think
know
it's
She's
good
worried
to
about-
remove
She's worried
people.
about losing the other friends, though, that aren't the one that.
But then what if
Yeah.
you do?
But yeah, and you're right. And that's another thing where I've have to like, I feel like the last few years I've been like, you must be okay with being alone. Because
But that, I'm not saying be alone.
Yeah,
I think
but like,
you do have people who don't make you feel like that in your life.
Right.
Don't you? Then why aren't they enough?
but I think if you cultivate the self-confidence to be like, I'm okay alone, then you will just
Correct. I
choose
see.
people. Like you'll just choose people who
I think-
add value.
I think the other thing you can do if you want to be like, Maria about it.
Yeah. No, we have a great
Would-
range here.
Yeah.
would be go to the other friends in the group individually the same way that bitch did.
Yeah.
And say, just so you know, whatever the bride's name is.
Yeah.
Roberta.
Yeah. Tell them the other girl talked shit about them.
Well,
Start
That is a great idea.
political campaign.
I would, but a version of that where you're like, listen, the bride has asked me to speak to so and so about, her mean tactics, which we know well of.
Yeah.
Because she suspects it, and I think she had come and talked to you about it as well.
Yeah.
So I just want to let you know, like, I am going to talk to her, because Roberta wants me to.
Yeah.
So if she comes and talks to you, like, here's what I'm going to be saying to her, so that you have enough context to know
Yeah.
what's going on.
Yeah.
And just be full, fake compassion.
Yeah.
I just think it gives you more of a fighting chance that you'll still end up friends.
Yeah. And I
Because
think
then you can like review all of her like cuntiest moments with them.
when being like transparent, and this is the thing, is like the few of them that I do really relate to, like they live in different cities. So I'm like, I see a friendship where like I go to London and I see this other friend, but I don't even want to go on these group trips with anybody anyway.
Yeah,
So it's like, if our friendships are like I see you when I visit, or maybe you come to New York, that's kind of what I want.
Yeah.
Anyways, out of the situation. So
Hot take. Also, group trips fucking suck.
Yeah.
Can we
Yeah.
all stop? Like, I've avoided them. Guys,
is-
can we give some snaps for Andrea bearing her soul?
Oh yeah. Andrea, thank you for bearing your soul.
Did you decide what you're gonna do now? based on our.
You have like the 3 bears.
She's still thinking.
What
Yeah.
does she have?
So we were
really? She
unhelpful.
It's a lot to think about.
Were we helpful? Okay.
We
Cool,
were
thank
the
God.
3 gold.
She
I
said
feel
that
like
you
we were
were
the
helpful,
3
that she was
Goldilocks
helpful.
bears. We were like, Maria was like conniving, worship at the altar of chaos.
Yeah.
I think Natalie probably gave
The best.
the best, which is like, it's not my fucking problem.
I think you probably did too.
And then
It's just
I was
hard
like,
to
yeah, take it on.
execute on that one.
It's hard to execute. Also, yeah.
But it's like
I would
it's
just avoid
big
it all.
Picture. It's also like if this
Be
person,
like, oh, I can't make the wedding.
yeah.
but I feel like we've all also, maybe not, but like at least had one friend in our life that has like backed away from us. Right? No?
Yeah.
And like you haven't? I have had one friend who backed away with not really any explanation. And I was like, okay, this is very pointed. Clearly it's something I'm doing. I can honestly say I have no idea what it is, but it's not on this person to explain it to me if they felt
Well, it
this strongly.
depends. I think it depends how close you guys were to begin with.
Yeah.
Because I had that
pretty
close, and
We
you
were, like,
never asked for an explanation.
I did. I basically said, like we got, it kind of came out of nowhere. And this was like an adult friend. This was like fairly recent. We got drinks and it was just the vibe was really off. And I was like rattled by it. And then a week later I sent her something and I was like, hey, I'm just like checking if you're okay or if like you're upset and there's something I did. And she was like, no, totally fine. See you around. And every time I've seen her around since, it's been like
Unfriendly.
so uncomfortable. But I'm like, clearly this was like a pointed thing. And sorry, not to bring it back to, from my point of view, I'm like, well, I just have to let that go because like, I don't know what happened, but I'm not going to put it on that person to like give me an explanation.
Yeah.
So in that situation, I can say confidently, I probably wasn't a bully, but like this person, like you don't owe her an explanation. That's kind of what I'm saying.
Yeah, especially not in
Yeah.
this situation because she's not a close friend. But
yeah,
Yeah. For me, it was my best friend.
that did that to you.
That like took her. Yeah, she just kind of like
Packed her
shut
shit
me
and
out a
left.
little bit. I know.
That's-
Yeah, emotionally, she did pack her shit and leave.
Wait,
I mean,
was this like the 14-year-old crush one?
No. My best friend, like to like up until last year, who's still in Lebanon. But it's like I'm not angry with her.
What
it's like
happened? Did you get an explanation?
yeah, but I like had to like follow
What,
up.
do you mind
million
sharing?
times? Yeah, I think what happened is we just. And I still love her to death. To this day, I will be
Yeah.
like, this is probably the person outside of my family that I love the most.
Yeah.
And I would still die for her. I adore her.
Yeah.
I just think we really grew apart in a painful way. Like, we're painfully grown up. We have painfully grown up. Yeah, we're painfully different at everything
Yeah.
about our lives. And our lives used to be exactly the same. This is the
Yeah.
girl I used to literally live with when I was in Lebanon growing up. I've been best friends with her and her sister since we were like 8 years old. Same age. We were together in elementary school. We grew up, college years, everything. We were glued to the hip. Like, I woke up, I didn't know what I was doing that day until I talked to her
Yeah.
to see what we're doing. And it's a very healthy friendship. It's not like, it wasn't a unhealthy, toxic female friendship. It was it's my family. Her family's my family. It's like, I love her to death. And then I left Lebanon and she stayed there. And then with time, it's just, with every passing year, our lives became more and more different. I would go less and less. And so she got married and then, everything in Lebanon went to shit. I think this is when it started. When things in Lebanon started really going to shit in 2019, the conversations on the phone started becoming a little bit more difficult because it's like, how do we talk about everyday life together now? Because it's like, her everyday life was
Really different.
no electricity, an uprising in a country, no water, a revolution, and then a fucking nuclear bomb, and then this, and then that, and mine was like, oh my God, this show didn't go well.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
like, this boy didn't ask me out on a second date. And I'm like, what am I? And so it got to the point where I felt stupid talking to her about my day. And it got to the point where she had nothing to bring back to me because it was fucking hell over there. So it started with like just quiet conversations being like,
Yeah.
and I could tell she didn't even want to hear what I had to say. 'Cause she was like, I can't listen to you right now. And I felt that with like even my mother back, when it first started getting bad there. But my mother's my mother, so we recover from it. We find
Right.
a way.
True.
But a friend, we started separating, and then she got married, and on her wedding day I didn't come through for her the way she wanted me to, or the way she was expecting me to. But because of this distance that we had not noticed had come between us, she didn't feel comfortable like she one day would, like she would have, being like, hey, you're not coming through for me. So she just closed off, and just first of all, it took her months to process it. So by the time she processed it and she acted on it and she started taking her distance from me, to me, it felt like it came out of nowhere, because I was like, wait, what? Out of nowhere? I've been in New York for 4 months and now you're deciding not to talk to me. Did I do something?
Yeah.
And then it took her a month to just send me a really long text being like, I just don't connect with you anymore. She was like, I love you. You're my best friend. And hopefully this is just a patch, but you didn't come through for me on my fucking wedding. And and all these things. And I was like, I'm sorry if that's how I made you feel. Usually I would be like, really? Because a lot of the things she said I didn't agree with.
Yeah.
But she feels how she feels.
She feels how she feels, and she's my best friend in the whole world. So I was like, I'm sorry I made you feel this way. I think we just grew apart and we didn't know how to communicate this correctly to each other. And so the distance grew bigger and bigger. And now we're at this point. And we kind of worked on it a little bit. When I went to Lebanon in December, usually I would see her every day. I saw her once. And we had a big heart to heart. I understood a little bit where she came from. There was still so much love. But then now it's been like maybe a month since we've talked, which to us is a lot. But now I'm like sitting here and I'm like, I think this is where we're at now. I mean, it feels like this is.
But also it's like things ebb and flow, and maybe things will never come back together. Maybe they will. But I think the beautiful part in that story is like you kind of were able to both recognize your feelings and communicate them to each other. Like even if it wasn't immediately, you were able to. And it's kind of, that's one of those situations where it's like everyone's just trying their best. Like,
but that's the difference between a good friendship and a healthy one, and a real one. Which is why I was asking Andrea, like, how close are you to that person? How comfortable are you? Because I mean, if I feel like if it's a true energy, and if it's a true friendship, there will be understanding between the two people. I feel like if you don't feel safe and you don't talk, or if you talk about it and they react in a way that is like, okay, then I'm done with you, then it's like, then you should really not be in my life. Then thank God they get out.
Right. It's also how you can tell like how people act after breakups. You know, like I'll be like, oh, okay, bullet dodged or whatever.
Yeah.
So
that's scary also. And
friend breakups. Well, I don't think we have enough time to talk about mine. But it was a childhood friend, and we just
we do.
I think we're really different.
We have like 10-y, 12-y. We have a 12-y more minutes.
Let's skip it.
Okay.
Skip
Too painful.
It's not. No, I don't mind talking about it. It's just like it's not. I think different enough from Natalie's that like it's worth like. I mean, there was no like not coming
because
through
your
for
best
a
friend
wedding.
is also in Lebanon.
Yes.
Really,
Maria's Lebanese best friend.
We grew up in Lebanon. I keep meaning to mention this.
Oh, by the way, Natalie.
By the way, you're not different or
one.
special.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, love that.
Yeah. But she sent me. She did the same thing. She sent me a really long text when I was like, "What happened?" I just noticed that she unfriended me on Facebook, and I was like,
"You noticed that?"
Yeah, because I would
never. How do you notice that?
I noticed that because I went to her page to like check up on her life because I hadn't talked to her in a while, and it was like request friendship or whatever. Like, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" So I like texted her. And she didn't respond at first, and then I followed up and I was like, hey, and then she just sent me this really long text, and she's like, what's funny about what Andrea's saying, and now I'm like telling the story after I was like, I'm not going to, but is she's like, I just thought you were a bully to me. Like I thought that
she said that too.
Yeah. But the thing that I will say is I can totally see how she took it that way. Like it was a lot like you felt, where you're like, I understand that wasn't, that's not how I see it, but it's how she sees it. But she would just come up with all these harebrained schemes. And I'm me, so I would like tease her about them. I would still be supportive, and I would like go do stuff with her and whatever. But she took what I was saying as bullying, when I thought that I was just doing what I always do, which is just to bust balls and be playful and whatever. But she's so sensitive that she didn't take it like that. But then, and she also wasn't telling me that I was hurting her feelings with my jokes. She wasn't being like, hey, like, this is like that. I didn't like that you said that. And honestly, it makes sense though that we're not friends, because it's like, if I can't be myself with her, like, and I can't joke around, then it's not a tenable friendship. So God bless.
This reminds me of the Kourtney Kardashian scene where she's like, to me, this is a joke. to you it's not, so I'm just gonna stop joking. Do you know that scene?
I'm out of the Kardashian.
Yeah, but it shows up on my TikTok for some reason. I know, I've seen the Kardashians through TikTok now. They show up and people like lip sync, like, and it's one of the one where like I don't know if it was Kim or Courtney or Khloe being like, can you stop saying like this is me? And she goes, okay, well, to me this is a joke. To you it's clearly not, so I'm just gonna stop. She's like literally gaslighting her.
I guess I can't say anything.
Yeah,
I guess we can't say
since you can't take a joke, I guess this friendship is no can do.
Yep.
But yeah, I get it, and I feel like, but to me that's healthy. It's like we accept it, we move on.
Different sensitivity levels.
Yeah,
and I feel like Andrea is also at that stage of her life where she should be having conversations like that with people, because you are the kind of person we could have conversations like that with. And if you're facing someone that you is like still fighting like we're still 15, I'd be like, I'm good.
Yeah.
But again, I don't want to drive you to stop talking to your childhood friends.
Andrea just waved her hand.
Yeah, I was like, I wouldn't
Because
care.
I want to be your best friend.
Yeah,
This is
all you need is me.
Yeah.
That's it. I want you to be codependent.
Don't need anybody else.
So, okay, well, amazing.
Girl
Well, the other thing we need to ask you is if you have any hot tips for staying hot that you want to share with us. We put her on the spot a little bit. We only warned her right before the episode.
Yeah, and I hated that question because it's like, how can I answer this truthfully but not sound like a complete dick?
I still...
Well, you already answered. You already said one thing up top. I'm not going to say it, which is the
the Revlon.
You.
Okay.
But it can also be like,
but I don't think that keeps you
financially,
hot.
spiritually, confident. Like what? Like when was the last time you felt hot, and what were the circumstances surrounding?
What do you mean
that
she feels
type
hot
of
right
thing?
now? How dare you?
Oh yeah, exactly.
I actually do feel hot when I fix my hair.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do.
Yeah.
I feel like,
So
Look good,
tell
feel
them.
good.
Tell
I
them
feel
what
like
the
I feel
tool
less
is.
pressure to dress well. I feel like my outfit will look better if my hair is not frizzy. I think it's frizz. If you control your frizz, you'll feel good about yourself. I think
And what's the name of the Revlon tool?
Revlon.
Well, that's just the brand.
Yes, that's the brand, but I think it's the only
like a
Revlon airbrush. It's a
Andrew's
circular hairbrush with the blow dryer inside of it.
Oh, wow.
So it like blow dries and it's a brush, so you don't need to hold both a blow dryer and a brush. It just does it.
Amazing.
And it's super, but you
Maybe
have to
I
be
need this.
patient. You have to
Because it
compartmentalize your hair
Yes.
while you're doing
And your
it.
feelings.
It-
While you do
always.
it, which is really weird because it says that on the
Always.
box.
You leave your feelings in.
Yep.
Do not bring them out.
And you just push them.
You push them.
And that's part of using the Revlon.
Exactly. Exactly. Leave everything in.
I mean, honestly, on a day like this where it's like thundering, definitely might be picking up one of those.
It's so good.
Good.
It's changed, yeah, because I also have very thick, wavy, and frizzy hair, and it's changed. Yeah, I look like a caveman usually if I don't do anything.
That's what I always have said about you. Like, you got to check out this comedian.
I look like a caveman if I don't. Well, here's the thing: people are like, you would tell me that like because you see my hair right now, but you don't know what it's like if I don't touch my hair.
Yeah.
I look insane. My mom always told me, she's like, your hair looks like a broom.
we need to get your mom.
You know
on
what?
this
A broom,
podcast.
yeah.
Yeah, like
Between
all
the
sprayed out.
gaslighting and the compliments, she sounds.
Oh,
fun.
we should get my mom everywhere.
Yeah.
Don't even get me started on the places we
I
should
mean,
bring my mom.
We already had my dad on the podcast.
That's so
we
cool.
need your mom.
We did have your dad on.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Oh, if you had my dad on this podcast.
I'm her future stepmom. Her dad
Yeah,
likes me.
absolutely.
Really? Is your
Yeah.
dad single?
Yeah, he's newly single.
No.
Yeah, he's hot to trot. He's newly divorced.
Yeah,
Really?
newly separated.
Is your mom single?
My mom's also single. Yeah.
Well, bring them back.
it runs.
This is your moment.
I know.
Agent of
right?
chaos.
Agent
Wait, how old were you when they separated?
10.
Wow.
And then
Do they still have feelings for each other, do you think?
no, but my dad often likes to finish conversations on the phone with Gracie really quickly. Do you think losing me is the worst thing that your mother's ever had to go through? And I'm like, I gotta go, Dad. Like,
It's so funny
really-
when your
messy.
parents remind you that they're just like not
Humans.
just parents. Yeah.
Yeah,
Those moments like this.
No, I've never seen them that way.
Really? You've always seen them as human? I've never
I've
human
always
like
seen them as human. My
I feel
dad
like this
and I
year
are
is the year I realized my parents are humans.
My dad and I are like
realized
drinking
it-
buddies.
I realized it when I was like a teenager, like
Yeah.
that moment where you realize that your parents aren't infallible and that they like make mistakes and that they don't know everything. And
As a
you're just like,
teenager.
yeah. And I was
Wow.
like horrified. I was like, ugh, so no one knows what they're doing? This is a nightmare.
Yeah. I realized that this year, I think.
Yeah.
Wow.
This year
then they
is
did
when
good.
I made my mom, I realized my mom is not just a mom. You know, because I feel like I only
She's
know
also
her
a
as
very
my
sexual
mom.
being.
Yeah.
That's
I only, you know your parent as your parent only.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
know, but they had a whole life before they were a parent
Yeah.
of a normal person.
Yep.
Well, think about your friends having kids like right now, or
Yeah.
and all the shit they did in their 20s.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But to me, my mom is just a mom.
Yeah.
So when she fucks up as a mom, I'm like, oh, you suck. But it's like,
Yeah.
no, she's fucking up as a human.
Yeah.
Which we all do. Yeah. And so it took me this year. I was like, this year I realized
Yeah.
that she's a human. And I forgave her a lot for a lot of things. And my dad too.
How
I
old
would
are you
say.
again?
29 years old.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like mid late
That's the
20s
time, yeah.
is a time where you're like, all right, I gotta drop some expectations if we are to move forward.
Yeah. But I feel like it's also the moment I realized that is the moment I was like, I feel like I don't want kids now. Because
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, the amount of thing these little
gotta have a talk with
shits
your-
are going to blame
You
me
gotta have a
for.
talk with your boyfriend.
Huh. Oh yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah. They will. You're gonna get blamed for all of it.
Yeah.
Just, you
'cause
better
it's
get
like
used
the
to that now.
audacity. Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, why would I want to go through that?
We'll have
Because
to
your
leave.
ovaries are gonna start screaming at some point.
Freeze them, put a stamp on it, whatever the fuck
Yeah,
they
hopefully
do,
I make
egg
enough
freezing.
money in
Yeah.
Paris to freeze those eggs.
Yeah, that's a
Do
lot of
it,
money.
guys. That. Where can
You
they
gotta
find
make $10,000 then in Paris. No pressure.
15, I think.
Is that how much it
My
costs?
friend got them done for 9.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
but
that's
it might have been
awesome.
because they were partially covered
How
by
about
insurance. or
while I'm
something?
freezing my eggs, I freeze some of them for me and then I sell some others
I
to
was
someone
certainly
else,
can.
and then
Just thinking the
it
exact
does anybody
same
do that?
thing.
And then it kind of
Maybe.
evens out, so you end up paying nothing.
Wait, that's actually a genius
But
idea.
then you'll have a kid in someone else somewhere
fine.
in the world. You'll have a child
Yeah, depends.
that
if
is
you
yours.
care. Well, not really.
Yeah,
I
You won't
kind
know.
of do. I kind of do care. I don't love the idea that there will be someone with my genetics that's kind of mine, and I won't know about that. It
I
makes
would
me sad.
love that. That's best case scenario because I'm like,
No.
you get all of my like good genes, but none of my chaotic info.
You don't
Not
know
how
that.
works at all.
You don't know that. Maybe it is in your genes, and they will get it.
Maybe.
Maybe
Oh
they
my
will
God.
also dye their hair blonde.
Oh no!
Out of nowhere at age 30.
Oh,
You know?
31. Thank
31.
you very much.
31 and
I'll
a
never
half.
tell. 31 and 32 next month. Oh shit!
I feel like this was a very wholesome female conversation.
You think
I
so?
will say, I don't know how it will sound listening back at it.
Well,
but right now it feels like we were very non-toxic, healthy women.
Well, I think it was very timeless. You know what I mean? Which is great for you because when you do listen to this in 10 years, as I know you like to go back and listen to all of your podcasts from 10 years ago.
I do love listening
every
to this on my own
year. I
voice.
know
Absolutely.
that that's a thing that you like to do. You like to sit down with a block of cheese and just listen to every podcast you've ever done. I don't know. I'm painting the picture. Okay. I don't know.
A block of cheese.
Who
Just
doesn't
me
like
and a block of cheese.
Yeah, and do your thing. So I think crisis averted.
Amazing.
And I also hope that you sell enough tickets in Paris to freeze your eggs. Where
That'd be a
where
big
can
venue.
where can people find you and tickets and all the things?
Everything is on my Instagram always.
Yeah.
So it's at Nat Your Color. Nat YOURCOLOR. LOR.
All right.
Color.
Yeah.
COLOR. And everything is on there. Ticket link and just my whole life.
Her whole life, her social security number,
The whole thing.
everything.
Yes.
It's on
All
there.
right, amazing. Well, thank you for being our guest.
Thanks for having me, guys. It was so
Amazing.
fun.
Guys, tune in to us, Hot Dads Pod. Email us your problems too. We haven't plugged that in a sec.
Yeah.
hotdadspod@gmail.com.
Email
If
me
you
your
like
problems, too.
Email Natalie. Just DM her your problems. Please rate, review, subscribe, share all the good stuff. And we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Swell timing. Wow. Yeah, that was